Yo and hello everybody, Mike here and Ty from Bench Clear Media. What's going on, TY?
Hey Mike, how are you?
I'm good. It's cold down here.
So what is cold for you? 55 and sunny?
It's hold on. I got asked that question. It is 39.
Ooh, that actually is cold.
And it's been rainy and drizzly all day, kind of yucky, but y'all are getting snow, aren't you?
The snow just missed us south, but we're
okay.
30 degrees. Yeah.
Yeah, it dumped on Oklahoma. Like all of Oklahoma got just dumped on.
Saw that. Yeah.
So
we need the rain, man. We need the precipitation here. We haven't gotten anything in like a month.
Oh yeah. It rained here most of the night last night through the morning, and we were out at the ranch. So we're like, bring all the rain you can. I mean, we'll take all of it. So, but it was a cold rain. You couldn't do anything. Like you couldn't go out anywhere. So
this is Bench Clear Meteorology discussion night, right? Is that what we're doing tonight?
Man, we're going to talk about the weather. We got Adam here and Michael and Jamar and William's trio. We got a lot of folks joining in. Thanks everybody for coming on and listening to us. We're just going to babble about, let's babble about the cards. And man, you picked up a pretty big collection, didn't you?
I did. And I put out a video a couple days ago. Did you watch it? Yeah, you did. I saw your comment.
Of course I watched it. Are you kidding? You were calling me going, all right, what am I looking for? And what should I be getting? And he's sending me videos, guys, like private videos, like, all right, here's what we got. You got some pretty decent stuff in there. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. But
crap ton of George Brett's, which I'm super stoked because the boys and I are just building out this crazy cool Royals collection. So
yeah, that's awesome. We don't want to do this tonight alone, though. I mean, it's just you and me. What's the fun in that?
Exactly.
So we have a special guest tonight.
There he is.
He's muted. There he goes.
Hey guys, thank you very, very much for having me. I'm a huge fan of Bench Clear. It's an honor to be here with you guys. Thank you.
Panini hat.
We try.
You to wear that tonight.
You know, it's funny. I used to be a huge Panini fan, and it's just become my hat. But I'll be honest, I'm probably the biggest critic of Panini out there. I think Panini will be the downfall of the hobby. I'll start right there.
Wow.
We went out swinging.
And I'll tell you why, guys. I've been watching, a lot of YouTube this year, and I will go back in May, right? VP of Sales was on from Panini, was on, I think it was Christina's Corner, talking about the importance of protecting suggested retail price and keeping this hobby for the kids and everybody. Well, that was a lie because, as you know, Panini does not do suggested retail price on anything. And then my favorite part, guys, was in August, the Vice President of Sales and Product Development was on Go GTS Live. Yeah. And here's my favorite quote. He says, in August of 2019, Panini did $2 million of revenue from Walmart alone. Just in 1 month, $2 million. In 2020, they did $15 million revenue from Walmart in 1 month. And you know what the kicker was? We didn't raise the prices. We just made more product. That was his quote. And he giggled.
Who's got their chat on beeping right there?
I'm trying to figure that out too as Ziggy's talking.
Oh, you know what? I think it's me. I got my I'm sorry. What's that thing called? Discord was up.
Okay.
That'll kill you.
Yeah.
That'll kill the bandwidth.
So I am a Panini fan. I kind of have to be because there's not much choice. I love basketball and football, but I'm also a critic. I'm going to call it how it is.
That's fair. I mean, I don't know. I just think I actually like their baseball products, even though there's no logos. That doesn't bother me. I know a lot of people hate it, like absolutely hate it. And it is what it is. I do believe in competition though. I think that it's a money thing, obviously, but why wouldn't Major League Baseball allow multiple? Topps can't be paying so much of a premium to have an exclusive right that it wouldn't make sense to have other companies do it as well. But maybe they are. Maybe Topps is literally emptying the bank vault for the MLB license. I don't know.
My concern is I really don't think the leagues have any idea of what's going on in the sports card markets. Right. So, for example, if I am baseball, Major League Baseball, and Panini comes to me and says, hey, Topps is giving you, say, X dollars, I'll give you 10 times X. Well, why would they not? They're going, that sounds fair to me. I'm a businessman. I'll make a business. But they don't realize, though, is that's choking off and really hurting the hobby. The reason I don't buy Panini baseball cards is simply because I want them to stay in their lane. You know what I'm saying? Focus on football and basketball. They're the only company, in my opinion, that kind of reaches over every boundary they can. They do a little bit of hockey. They do a little bit of everything. I wish they'd focus. I wish they'd welcome competition. I just think competition's good. And we just don't have that right now.
Ty, you're being awfully quiet up there, man.
Guys, it doesn't matter because like this chart shows behind me, I guess it's this way. Cards only go up, just like stocks. It doesn't matter. They don't stop. They're unstoppable.
Well, again, it's a good point to make, Ty, and I think that's the point that someone should make to the commissioners, right? Is that look at all this money going on, all this growth, this hobby's taking off. Do you want to keep that going, right? Do you want to keep bringing new people in? Do you want to expand? And I think lack of competition is hurting us. In fact, here's a good example. Obsidian, I think it's football, is going to drop this week. It's first off the line. And guess what's in Obsidian this time? Color Blast again. Now, have we not seen Color Blast in every product from Panini now? And I'll give you a thought. Think about this. You know, the PGS or PMG cards, right, from Upper Deck. What if they did that insert in every damn product they made? That insert would have no value. And that is what Panini's doing. They don't have innovation. They're not making new things. They make one thing, it works, and they do it over and 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 over.
Are there kabooms in there in Obsidian?
Great question. I didn't see them in the preview, but that's another great insert that used to only be in the innovation set many, many years ago. And it was in Excalibur. And now Kaboom is in everything, right? So again, that's my complaint about Panini. I'm not seeing innovation. I'm not seeing anything new, right? Downtown cards are watered down. They're in draft product now. You got the really nice ones in the one-on-one product, but then you've also got them in draft. You know, I just think as a collector or investor, we're devaluing the product when we don't innovate, when we don't compete. The last point I'll make on this real quickly is if there was competition, don't you think competitors might disclose print runs? Because it's going to make their product more desirable, right? If Topps was in basketball, and if I was a Topps CEO, I'd release a basketball product and say, hey, this is going to be limited. We're only doing X print run, and drop it like that and make the competitors fight back. How are they going to compete against that? They're going to have to make a more exclusive product or open up their print runs, right? And again, I'll just say, as I look at this year, I've become a huge fan of what Topps has done over the year. They've made more products available direct. They've protected suggested retail price more than any other vendor. And I've even heard recently, here's another thing they did. They just dropped the, I know you guys don't follow soccer much, but they dropped the soccer product in European market on the UK Topps site for, I think it was $100 or £100 per box. So again, at suggested retail price, they addressed the market outside the US. They weren't just US based. They did that for the Europe. Panini doesn't do that. Panini's focused solely on the US market. They're focused solely on, and I understand their business, but maximizing profit at any cost, right? And I think the cost is really going to be the hobby. I think I don't want to get in a whole debate about junk wax era. I will say this: if we're in one, it's because of Panini, right? It really is. I mean, I'll even go back to manufacturing costs. You guys have talked about this on your channel. When you manufacture a product, what goes in the product makes the product's cost. Autographs and relics or memorabilia. If you don't have that in the product, if all it is printing, then there's really no real value in the product. And what does Panini do? They make more products without autographs and signatures than anybody else. Look at Prism Football. You don't even get relics and blasters every now, right? Think about that. In a blaster, which is $50 to $100, they can't even give me a piece of napkin anymore.
All right. Well, first off, thanks for having us on your show tonight, Ziggy. It's been a pleasure. We're going to turn that frown upside down, right, Mike? We're going to turn that negativity into positivity tonight.
Dude, I'm a vintage baseball guy. What am I going to do? I'm just going to, jeez.
Well, again, I love what Topps has been doing, guys. I mean, Topps has done a great job. In fact, I've been following Mike, started following you back with the whole 2020 project, your trials and tribulations through that. I just think Topps has been a great job. I also, Ty, you've done a great job having Topps on. I've seen Topps more on your channel than anybody else's. Emily's done a great job. Just giving my feedback on what I've seen in the 2020 as a collector / investor.
Well, I think those are great points. I really do. I think we've had this discussion ad nauseum.
Yeah,
we're reaching a very interesting tipping point. But Mike, what do we talk? What's the topic tonight? You picked a couple topics. I'm interested to dig into these. By the way, Ziggy, where can folks find you before we get into this? You have a show. Your daily show's been going for how many days straight?
I started that back in July, around July 10th, I believe. So about 150 days, 100 something days. And that's my primary thing. It's just doing the Sports Cards Daily. I do some other content. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I'm very active in Facebook groups. I do a lot of adminning. Just, love the hobby. And I will say too, real quickly, Sports Cards Daily really was inspired, Ty, by you. I mean, you and I talked about this back in the summer. We were talking about, I was trying to, you really are an inspiration. I love what Bench Clear's done. I love the way you guys have brought people together. You have some of the best content out there. And I'll say part of why I do what I do is I want others to know all the good stuff going on, all the really cool content that's happening, regardless if you're a collector, investor, you're Bench Clear, slab stocks. I don't care where you are. I want you to know what's going on in the hobby.
Well, I will tell you, and you've seen this, but for everybody else out there, I mean, when Ty and myself and Jeff created Bench Clear, we said to ourselves in many private conversations that we had when we're going, all right, how do we want this to look? And it was, we want to do different stuff. Anybody can show cards. I can show any card you want. You can go find anything you want on eBay or wherever. Let's try to do stuff that's informative and honest and real and different. And that's been kind of how we've kind of blown this thing up. I mean, we're about to hit 5,000 subs probably this week, which is pretty good for a 7-month-old channel.
It is. And I honestly think you guys are only going to go higher, because if I just highlight for anybody who's listening, if you haven't been following Bench Clear, I think about some of my best episodes you did was the one on bots was absolutely mind-blowing.
It was.
Like, cook groups, whether you like it or not, you need to be aware of what's going on in the market, right? And I learned so much from that episode, right? The episode you guys did, like I talked about earlier with the wives, what a great, unique approach, right? Because we all have, or not all of us, I'm an ex, but we all have to deal with somebody else in our lives and how we manage that hobby with our significant others. So you guys are just coming out with some of the best content. I also love the pitch. I love behind the numbers. You guys have a little bit of everything on the channel, football, basketball, everything. So, and I like, even though Ty and I are competing in the StarStock Challenge, I love.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you got the spot. That's awesome. I can't wait. Have they posted you on the site yet?
I am finally. I'm on the list now. But I think about all the analytical stuff. Like, for example, hear people talk a lot about PSA versus BGS. Well, Ty can give you the breakdown of what the market share is, right? Because he looks at that data. And I think last time, I think you were saying, I think it's like 60% PSA, 25% BGS, and a little bit SGC. Those are important numbers. And I hope other people are listening to that, because it's not just a matter of opinion. There's actual facts and stats out there. So I love what you guys have been doing and putting together.
Thank you. This is not meant to be a commercial for Bench Clear.
I do love that you didn't mention a single show that I've done, but that's okay.
Yes. Told you, Mike.
I'll tell you, Mike, I follow all your shows, and you are probably more active because you give just the real what you're doing. At the same time, I'll be honest, I watch your vintage show, but it's not my thing as much.
That's cool.
Right.
And it probably sucks. So that's all right too.
That's not true.
No, it doesn't. And like I said, I love, because here's one thing you do more than anybody else in Bench Clear is that you're on and you're giving us those reports of what you're dealing with. Like, here's a good example. I remember you dealing with the hogs that you had to kill back in the summer.
Boy, that was fun, by the way.
It was interesting to me.
We're, we've, again, trying to do a bunch of different stuff. The Pull is probably the best show on YouTube, in my opinion, of any hobby show, period. Matt Coleman's doing that. He's doing an amazing job for us. We've got some more of those episodes going in the future. Unfortunately, that's not something we can do a lot of, not us, it's Matt. It takes a long time to do that. And so he does one every few weeks for us.
The production value on that is amazing, Mike. You're right. I was very impressed. That is awesome stuff.
It's insane. And we got to get him to go up and see Ty and do a profile on Ty or something.
We set up a couple this week that are going to blow your minds. I cannot wait till we get these done. Oh my gosh.
Do me a favor. Just let me know a day before, and I'll put it in my daily so people know to watch next day. Because I'm reactive right now. I want to be more proactive in the channel. I want to be telling people what to look for that day versus telling them, hey, what you missed the day before. So that's the only thing I would say. And I am getting that from some providers. Do let me know when they put content out, and I'm able to drop them in there. But I'm definitely looking forward to what you guys are putting out.
Well, you're really gonna come February, by the way. You may not know this, but every year for the last 3 years, I've run a deal called the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. and it's where the community, basically everybody votes. They do a video response and vote for who they think the top 10, or not even top, they get to vote for up to 10 of who does they think should be in the Hall of Fame of YouTube sports card content creators. And it can be anybody. There's no other, they have to be doing videos for at least a year. So it can't be, no rookies are getting in.
Well,
and
it's going to exclude a lot of people.
What's that?
It's going to exclude a lot of people. There's a lot of us rookies this year.
It is, and it should. I mean, no offense, but
we have to do Rookie of the Year. We have to do a Rookie of the Year category.
I need to do Rookie of the Year and MVP and All-Star, whatever. But somebody else can do that. I just do the Hall of Fame. We've had 30 people have been inducted into that through. Again, it's the community votes. It's not. I just count the votes.
That's awesome.
So that'll be coming up in February. Everybody's asking me already, when are you doing it? And I'm like, it's getting there.
Can you send me some links of the past ones? I'd love to highlight that, because again, as a new, people new to the hobby, I'm sure they weren't. I didn't follow that last February, and that'd be cool. That'd be awesome to follow.
I will. I'll send those to you privately.
Excellent.
Hey, Mark, and hey, everybody else that's joining on, Jeremy, and golly, we got people watching us from Korea right now because KBO Collections is here. So.
Awesome.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
So Ziggy, I'm curious. Obviously, you're figuring things out with YouTube. What are built your channel this year?
I missed that. What was that? You broke up on me.
Oh, and what are a couple things that you've learned as you built out your channel this year? Little strategies, little tips, and then I'm also curious why you hit your subscriber count. I'd love for you.
Great question. So I'll tell you. So first thing, when I started it because my son and I were watching other content providers, and we felt like there's too much BS in the market space. Like I think a lot of people did, right? A lot of it was hype and fluff and stuff. And again, I'm a father of 4 boys. So I bring this back to my boys would come to me and go, hey, this guy says to buy this, and this guy wants me to join his Patreon channel, and this guy wants to do that. And I was like, well, let's hold on. Let's look at this, right? So when I started, my whole goal was really to just be honest and give impartial advice from a collector's perspective. And I also wanted to break the 1,000 subscriber mark, right? Everybody has that goal because it gives you legitimacy, whether it's monetization or not. That was a goal. So when I started off, I was very focused on that. And I want to say, I think I was too focused, where I would put content out responding to what the hype was, if that makes sense, So to answer your question, I turned off my subscriber count because I realized it was driving my direction more than my direction driving where I want to be. I don't want subscribers to drive my direction. And what I mean by that, I've hit my 1,000. I'm happy. I'm not driven by subscribers. I want everybody to listen, not because 1,000 people or 10,000 people are listening. I want them to listen because it's good content. I also decided I want to make it organic growth. And I see a lot of people doing, posting their channel out or whatever. I was very selective on who I wanted to do collaborations with in the beginning. I didn't want to just do with everybody. I wanted to find the right people. So I have learned a lot. I've learned that you're going to have critics. You're not going to make everybody happy. There's always be somebody who doesn't like what you're doing. And I also think you got to focus on what your goal is individually. And I think a lot of people's goal is monetization. Mine is not. It really is not. I know it might sound weird, but I'm not doing this because I want to make money off of my content. I'm doing this because I really just want to share stories and learn more. If I can become an influencer, that's great, where people listen to me because what I'm talking about, right? Not because of a sponsorship I have or because I'm affiliated with somebody. So I've tried to stay impartial. Obviously, I'm involved in Sports Card Investor. I'm an admin over there, but I'm not an affiliate of Market Movers. I don't push the Market Movers tool. I'm a huge fan of StarStock, but I'm also not an affiliate with those guys as well. So what I've learned is try to be neutral. I tell you, another big lesson is help the little guy. And what I mean by that, there's so many channels that were really nice to me when I was at 50 or 100 subscribers who would give a shout out or answer me or whatever. So I always try to help the little subscriber that's out there, trying to help them get some visibility because there's just so much good content out there. And I just say, treat people the way you want to be treated. Everybody's got a little hustle on. Everybody's got a goal. I mean, there's a lot of channels. There's guys I like who have Patreon channels, and they have subscription to whatever, and it is what it is.
What do you think? Okay, let's keep on this topic because it's interesting to me. I see a lot of guys out there putting out content, and it's literally I could close my eyes, watch the video, and I'll know what I'm going to see. Meaning it's rinse and repeat. It feels like it's the same old thing all the time. And I try to tell people that ask me advice on starting a channel. I'm like, be different.
Yep, I agree.
Do something different. If you're going to sit there and show cards, unless you're going to tell stories I try to add some nuance to the card. I mean, everybody can see a 1970 Topps Willie Stargell, but I'm going to tell you something about Willie Stargell or the card or the set or something. I want to try to just, I don't do that I'm not perfect at it. No one's perfect at doing YouTube or anything, but I'm like trying to tell people, be different. Yep. Would you say, because I know you track a ton of channels and you probably watch more YouTube sports card content than anyone else out there. And what do you see that makes people different? What do you see that goes, wow, I really like that, whatever that is? Tell me what that is.
What you said was key. Differentiation, something that's new, right? I'll tell you some of my favorite channels. I absolutely love Sports Cards Live. Okay, that's Jeremy. He does the interview channel. It is, in my opinion, the best interview show in the hobby right now. And the reason I say that, his interview,
except for this one right now.
Well, I'll say, I love what you guys do. And the only comment I have, Ty, when you've done your interviews, I wish they were live so I could participate. You know what I'm saying? A lot of yours are recorded, and that's fair. There's reasons we do that. What I like about Jeremy's is he does a very good job of managing the room that he has and the person that he's interviewing. Because he'll have hot people on there where you can see people want, oh, ask the Panini guy this, ask him that. And he manages that very well. So I'm always learning on that channel. That's a key differentiator because there are a lot of interviews out there, right? Another one that I love is Baseball Card Collector, Investor, Dealer. You guys follow this guy? He's phenomenal. If you follow his guy, I watched him back in the spring. He had 200 subscribers. He has no agenda. And what I mean by that, he's not trying to sell me anything. He's not trying to hype anything. He has no agenda to push anything except for his knowledge. But I tell you what, I'd buy anything you want to sell me because I trust him and the knowledge he's built up. So what I tell you, if you're out there, find something that, like Mike said, that's unique that the hobby needs. I think there is definitely a need for a daily show. I still think there's need for more daily content, right? Because a lot of it does get static. In fact, what I'd love to see is something that helps kind of coordinate where you want to be or to watch certain content, if that makes sense. Kind of like a YouTube channel selector, right? What I've also noticed, a lot of content providers don't pay any attention to other content providers, right? So they'll drop a live video at the same time another live video is going on the same topic. So be aware of your community, respond to comments, also be active in other people's comments. That's something I did very early on, right? I watched a lot of YouTube and I'd respond to people's comments. Always try to respond positively, and you can give a criticism or comment, right? But getting that visibility, I think, is very key. And I also think this is still very early in sports cards. It's not too late to get into the sports card content providing world, right? I think you have to have a goal. You have to have consistency, as you guys know. One thing I will tell you, Mike, I do watch a lot of channels. There's a lot that I've seen kind of just die, that just simply have just stopped.
Do you know why?
I don't. I mean,
I can tell you right now why.
What do you mean?
I've been doing it
5 years, right?
No, well, my first video came out in 2011, but I've really been doing it since 2017-ish, probably. But I'll tell you, and I've done 800 videos or whatever. People they blow their wad on content in terms of what they have. They're going to show off all their cards, and then they're going to do it really quick, and they're going to run out of things to talk about. Or they don't get a lot of traction early. Everybody thinks they're going to come onto YouTube and be at 1,000 subs like that. Man, it took me like 4 years to get to like 500 subs or whatever. I mean, point is, if you're just going to do the same old thing, you're going to get frustrated because you're not growing the way you think you would like to or whatever. And there's plenty of people that just do it literally because they just want to do it. Yep. They could care less about their sub count, or if they have 50 people that watch that are consistent and comment and interact, and they make 10 good friends out of it, mission accomplished for those people. And that's great. And then there's the other guys that they may say that, but they really deep down want to be YouTube famous, whatever that means. I don't know what that looks like in real life, but I'm telling you, it's people get frustrated and then they just quit. They're like, forget this. It's not growing and I don't want to do this anymore. I'm trying not to stay on this, but it's the bench clear idea was to bring so many different parts of the hobby that if you are new and you like something that I don't do, that's fine. You can find someone on bench clear that does do and create content on a topic that you enjoy. And like, you don't like necessarily vintage card, golden age of cardboard, and that's fine. There's plenty of other stuff to watch on Bench Clear and all over YouTube. But the idea was to create it, where people can find different things. So that's why people quit. They get frustrated. They get.
You're right. I agree. I mean, but I will say there are some channels that I've just been surprised with their just lack of, I don't know. I don't want to give names of somebody because they might have a personal reason why they haven't. There's one guy specifically that I was following who blew up and got over 13 subscribers relatively quick. Seemed to have a good game plan. He just went quiet. This was going completely quiet. So you're right. Did
you say 13 subscribers?
1,300.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But there can be, I've known guys that write me. I don't know. Tyus knows this. I have literally hundreds of guys that are in my phone and that I have phone numbers for and talk to, and not necessarily every day, but I talk to someone every day. I guarantee you that. But it's probably, hey, I got a personal issue, and they may take 2 months off, or 3 months off. And
that's fair. I mean, I think that's fine. In
fact, our partner Jeff is taking a little hiatus from YouTube. Yeah, he's just dealing with a lot of work. I mean, that's just the truth. He's kind of overwhelmed with work, and we're like, dude, we got you. And that's the other good thing about having a team, right? Because if someone in your team can't produce content for a little, there might be a time where I have to take a break for any number of reasons. Ty's like, no, you can't. But if I did, there's other guys to pick up the slack. Yeah. If you're a solo channel, then you're just going to go dark. And that's the worst thing you can do if you're trying to build a channel. Consistent content is key.
I agree.
Go ahead, Ty. You got a bunch.
I got a couple points. By the way, we have some crazy good channels in the room, so it'd be great to know kind of what your guys' tips are. But I think when new channels come to me, my first piece of advice is remember that when you're building a channel, it is a long game. It is not like we're going to crack the algorithm and all of a sudden have 1 million views. Like, you have to be prepared and script out your next 10 episodes of something, or you're going to figure out like, holy crap, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. And then once you do that for a week or two and you have those gaps, it's done. The other thing is the hobby's pretty good now about figuring out like who's authentic and who's just full of crap. Like, the people that are full of crap don't last very long.
But there are some full of crap channels that are blowing up that are still, and I'm not going to call them out right now, but there are some bad channels.
Call them out. Come on, man. Come on, do it.
I will. So I would just say I'm what really bothers me the most is I think you should qualify your experience. And there's a lot of guys who will tell you in one video, hey, I just gotten this in the spring. And then they'll tell you they're an expert in the hobby. That concerns me. And the one thing, and I'll go back to playing the father role, right? I try to, and I've had some conversations with some of these providers in private chats, like, hey man, can you cool off on you pushing this? And their big response back, I'll put it this way. One content provider blocked me for a while because I actually said to him, are you really going to start a Patreon channel? You just hit 1,000 subscribers. Why don't you build slowly? And he got upset. What are you, against monetization? Or are you a communist? No, I'm not. But again, I go back to being a father. I have 4 boys. Think about your influence. When you're a talking head and all you're doing is sitting there going, hey, this card's really cool. This card's really cool. Think of all the other people who are following you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think the one thing that YouTube misses is a policing mechanism. Okay. In the hobby, we don't do a lot. In Facebook, we call out scammers very quickly. You scam a person, you'll be all over Facebook in a few minutes and blocked. But on YouTube, crappy content gets through a lot, and we sit there and we subscribe to it, and we just shake our head. One of the guys I love to follow is the sports card investigator. Have you seen this guy? He has he's an ex-DEA agent, and
yes.
And we watched that together, the first episode or two in Texas.
Yeah. And I'll say I like him. I've talked to him. My only comments is I think he's a little too long and not specific enough.
Hold on. Here's my impression of watching his videos.
Well, again, he's got good content.
Creative. He's a creative dude. I'll give him that. Yeah. He's very creative.
But I will also say this: what I see a lot of times, guys, is a lot of content providers fall into these little groups, right? And they just stay in their little group. And I wish there was more collaboration outside the group. One thing I've noticed is that there are what I see the collector communities, and then there are the investor communities, right? For example, I've been on the Comeback Card Investor. I've been on the Personal Finance Ed. Both of those guys are relatively new channels, right? That I'd put in the investor category, right? They're really telling you how to make money. They're not collectors, and they're also not long-term channels of experience. I look at Bench Clear. You guys are definitely a mix of both. You have a great collector, Mike. I lean you towards collector side, right? You got a little investor in you, but you're a collector.
No,
and
I'm a collector.
And I'll put more on the investor side, right? He's got the investor look, and I love that mix. But if I look at there's just the different groups where I wish there was more collaboration between them, right?
Let me tell you that I want to hit on that point because there's a lot of people watching that or hopefully will watch this. It's just like life. And what I mean by that is you're going to have people that you gravitate towards and that you like at your job, at your church, at your schools when you were kids. There were a group of guys, like if you were in the jocks, you weren't necessarily in the band geeks, right? And it doesn't mean that you didn't like the other ones. I didn't, I played sports and stuff. So I was in that group of friends and I just happened to hang out with them more. It wasn't that I disliked the other people. And remember this, you only have so much time in a day, and to be a friend with someone and to really contribute to them and be a value to their life, it takes time to invest that time. And you can only do that with so many people. Yep. So as much as there can be, like when we tried to do, when we did Hobby Palooza, I intentionally reached over the imaginary line of these collector groups, these cliques, if you want to call them that. They're just friend groups is all they are. And it's just because you happen to hit it off with one person versus another. And it doesn't mean I love all the people in the community. I really do. I don't have anybody that I can go, I don't like that person. And so most of them I haven't even met personally. So how can you ever judge somebody until you sit down and have a beer with them or something? Yep. But people do that to me all the time. It's hilarious. Like, you don't know me at all. How can you possibly judge based on what I say on a YouTube video? Well, then that's a very narrow examination of my life. So
let me give you an example. Do you guys follow Hobby Hotline at all?
Sure. John.
I'm surprised that group isn't bigger. When you look at who's involved in that, you've had people come and go, but you've got Dr. Beckett, you've got Rich Klein, you got
Mike Summer.
Yeah, you got some pretty big names on that thing, and I think that's a great platform for everybody to reach out to because. And I've told new content providers this: if you're a new channel, go to Hobby Hotline. They'll let you on the channel, and you can promote your channel right there. Right? That's a very easy entry. I wish there was more of that community. I feel Hobby Hotline group is the same group, and I wish there was a little bit of Bench Clear in there. I wish there was little slab stocks in there. Right? There are these different communities, and I agree with you, Mike. You're absolutely right. There's age differences, there's hobby collecting differences and stuff. I just wish the community was a little more open on what we're doing, kind of seeing if that makes sense.
I don't think it isn't, honestly. Like, I would be on Hobby Hotline. I've never been asked.
Well, there are some definite people who don't like each other in this hobby. Okay,
they do.
I'll put it. Give you an example. You can see House of Cards on Sports Card Investor.
No.
Not now, but he was on there, right? He came on. Chris was on Sports Card Investor in April, and then 2 months later launches a competing product.
By the way, there are several YouTube Hall of Famers in the chat. Tops 85 401. Nate.
Pino is hot tonight, by the way.
Pino is going nuts. Yeah,
I'm loving his comments tonight.
And
by the way, Mike, show my screen real quick, would you?
You bet.
We gotta. This was just mentioned, but are you kidding me? Wow. Yeah. What have we come to? I'm sorry. I'm just tired of this PC crap.
I'm not surprised. I'm actually surprised that didn't happen. I think it's crazy. Don't get me wrong.
That means KC Chiefs are next.
Probably.
Oh, that's right.
Probably.
You're going to become the I got to think of a good I'm going to come up with the new Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City barbecue rib.
It'll be something barbecue. You're right.
The smokers.
There we go. There we go. That's even more PC.
Yeah, because then you're catering to the 316 crowd and or what is it, 314 crowd?
Right. Yeah.
I'm not in that crowd, so I don't.
Yeah, right. That roll right off your tongue.
The 314 crowd. Anyway, hey, let's talk about another topic. Great YouTube stuff, by the way. I mean, there's so much insight. Ty, you got anything else you want to say on that?
Yes, there was a couple comments basically talking about pet peeves. And I mean, can we all agree, like if we see one more thumbnail of a guy holding up 5 and pointing to an arrow, like can we stop that, please? Like, do people actually click on it because we see a guy holding up 5?
They do. And I'll tell you, what bothers me is those get the most views, man. I mean, that's what people are consuming. If you look at a channel of a guy who does that, if he puts out other content, he doesn't get the same views as when he does that. I don't know why, because I agree with you. It's overdone. But I will say, when I do top 3, top 5, if you just do top 3 or top 5, you're going to get more views. It could be on anything, right? But I agree with you. It is too much. And I think some of those guys are starting to get, to not do it as much. I think
they can't do a top 5 every couple days.
What really bothers me is when the guy does the top 5 and then a few days later he's trying to sell one of the cards in the top 5. Now that I've seen. I mean, that's blatant.
All right, let's switch gears to.
Go ahead.
If that's okay, we'll switch gears to the PSA news of them getting sold to Nat Turner and his investment groups that he's affiliated with or works with or whatever. First of all, I think we can all agree it's good. We may not agree. I think it's very good for the hobby. And I have my opinions on that. Then you've got, hold on. That's a great one. Ken just made a great comment. When you have all these people watching and you don't interact at all, it is the most, like, forget it. I'm not, if you look down and see 100 comments and no responses from anyone, that bugs me more than anything. They're there just to they're not there for the two-way connection that this platform can create. I literally spend an hour during the week, not usually on the weekends, but during the week, an hour in the morning when I wake up, the first thing I do is go respond to every comment that I can on any video that's been done in the last 24 hours, or, what's ever come out. Because if someone takes the time to comment on your video, you should take the time to respond back. I think that's just respect. That's just, hey, thanks. It can be just, hey, thanks. Yep. Like, it doesn't have to be a soliloquy.
You just press the button and it gives you the canned response too. I agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, I have to do that sometimes, like, because they'll say great video. It's not like they wrote, a long, and I just say thanks, but at least it's something.
Well,
sorry.
I've been blocked on many channels for commenting, so that irks me even more because they don't not only they don't want to read my comment, they just totally blocked me. They don't want to hear me anymore.
I've read some of your comments, Ziggy. It's you can be.
You understand why?
You get to the point.
You do.
I appreciate it. I've learned to appreciate it more.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I'll say this. I don't mean to be a jerk. I want people to realize. Again, I'm a father of kids. So when you put out content, think about, I know people go, well, it's not for kids, but you put it on YouTube. Kids are watching. Everybody's watching. So just think about what you're doing when you're putting content out.
So PSA getting sold. One thing I wanted to talk about, because Ty and I did an episode going through it. Several other people have done episodes, really great stuff. Cardi C and Filmington, great episode on it. And the thing I think about now is, well, what if, okay, let's look at it from the PSA side, and then you've got the BGS and SGC side. If you were CEO of one of any of those three companies, what would be the first thing you would do now, given the circumstances that are going to present themselves at the end of the first quarter next year when Nat Turner takes over?
Yep.
And Ziggy, you're our guest, so you can have the floor for. I got to put a time limit on you, though. I think maybe.
So I'll give you a quick response to this. Going through my own experience in the world of acquisitions, right? I look at when an acquisition typically takes place, you often have a talent loss, okay? Because most people are vested, or there's no reason to stay anymore, or they don't want to deal with the garbage, right? So I'm going to be concerned that PSA is going to have a talent drain. I think that's likely to happen. Again, if I'm a grader and I was making money and you just cashed out my stock, why am I staying there when you have the biggest backlog in the world and new management? So that would be a concern. So if I'm CEO of PSA, I'm trying to retain talent big time. If I'm one of those competitors, I'm going after that talent big time. I'm also, if I'm BGS or SGC, I'm looking at the fact that these guys, my competitor, just validated the market, right? They got sold for 700 million. We're worth hundreds of millions, right? And I use that to solidify where I am in the market space. Now, what I think is challenging here is I don't know how you can make a competitive differentiator in this space. And I've been thinking a lot about this. And what I mean by that, if I'm BGS or SGC, you want to do something to take advantage of my competitor. My competitor's got backlog. They got new management coming in, whatever it is. What can I do? And I don't know if there's much they can do. And I tell you why I think that. I think the biggest advantage PSA has is they don't use the 9.5. And think about this for a minute. Okay, they do not use a 9.5. And I'll go back to Baseball Card Collector Investor Dealer, did a great video last week where he was showing gem mint rates. Now, gem mint is 9.5 or above, okay? The gem mint rate on PSA is about 50%. On all the others, it's about 70% because it's much easier to get a 9.5 with BGS or SGC or BGS. So if I'm one of those other guys, I've got to find a competitive differentiator like that 0.5. Maybe if I'm SGC, I stop doing 9.5s, right? I go to the standard of 10s and 9s only. Now you're following at PSA, but you've got to do something big to change its market space. If not, I think the PSA becomes the dominant player in the future, right? Because if they are able to, I'm not going to say fully automate, but if they're able to use technology to advance what they're doing, they're going to really distance themselves in the future. So I am really curious to see in the next 90 days what happens with talent, what happens in the market. I do not expect PSA times to change at all. I expect them to get worse. Anybody who, like, I keep hearing people say, well, I hope that Nat cleans things up and we get our stuff back. How can he do that? Right? So just to cut it off here, I'm looking for something big to happen. Maybe SGC or BGS get acquired, right? Go find a partner and partner up. Maybe merger. They've got to do something like, for example, BGS StarStock. Now, I know StarStock just partnered with PSA, but if StarStock had partnered with BGS and was allowing you to BGS grade your cards, that would be that's beneficial, right?
What about, hold on, Ty. What is talent at a grading card company? Define talent. When you say they're going to, mine for their talent or try to rate them for their talent,
I would say it's the graders. I don't know who they are, but I got to assume that that's a limited skill set, right? Because and it's something that you can't make new ones tomorrow. That you have to apprentice. You have to earn that right. So you saw that CSG stole 2 of the Beckett guys, and Beckett's been pretty quiet, and they're delayed right now. They're way behind. So that's, to me, where the most valuable talent would be those graders.
Well, first off, I think we need to point out, what do they call those things when people pay for a comment? Super chats? Is that our first ever? I don't even know we had that activated.
We have had some super chats before, but
okay, I didn't even realize that. That's funny. That's awesome.
Thank you, Fishmaking. GMA, sadly, I hate to tell you, I don't think they're not, I don't think they're going to go out of business, but I don't think they're ever going to be.
Yeah, they're not going to be relevant.
If you don't know what pig is, Eloy just made a great comment. So that's a community inside joke. That's pretty funny.
So real quick, Nat, first off, this is not his first rodeo. So I think going in response to you, Ziggy, I bet he's already thought, okay, we're going to have to fix efficiency issues. And I mean, look, I don't know what these guys get paid. I want to guess it's probably some 70, 80,000 bucks a year. That'd be my guess. But if you go out and say, hey, we're going to pay someone $100,000 a year, we're going to go get 5 of them, I don't think it'll be too hard to get the right guys. And this guy is going to have the technology in place to expedite. So I picture Nat coming in and saying, hey, look, guys, collector, love what PSA is doing. We're going to transform the way we grade. And I'm going to bring efficiencies in here so you don't have to ever run into a 2 million card backlog again. You're going to start enjoying your job. That's how you retain the workers. But first thing I would do is I would get a stinking social media push like you've never seen.
I agree.
I just don't understand why Beckett, PSA, SGC are not transparent in what they do. Put videos out, show the inner workings, talk about, do a live video a week. You know how much people would buy into it? if PSA started doing a live video a week, just talking about things happening inside their plant, like, dude, we would love it.
Yep, you're right.
People would love it. That would be the first thing I would do, is hire the best marketing team I could possibly find.
Well, Beckett does do Beckett Live, and they're not just about grading, but they do something. I like what Eric's trying to do, but I agree with you. I mean, Cardi brought that up when he was going over the financials. PSA's done nothing, and they really haven't innovated at all. I mean, so any effort would be great. But I do think talent's going to be an interesting thing for PSA. I'll just say, if I'm a grader there, why would I stay if I can make more money? And I'm curious. I would love, in fact, Ty, I'd love for you to get an interview with a grader. Right? I've never seen somebody interview a real grader, somebody who's in the industry. In fact, one question I would ask a grader, which I've heard, the semi-rigid sleeves, right? And how everybody tells you to stick the little tab in there, the paper tab, so you can lift the cards out. Somebody told me that when graders take the card, they actually cut the sides with scissors or shears, and they never take the card out from the top. So putting that little sticky in the top is a complete waste of time. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'd love to know stuff like that. I'd love to know, what is the grader, what's his day like? Does he do 1,000 cards a day? Does he have to do 10 an hour? What is his day like?
The elephant in the room is that PSA is already a giant in the sports card hobby. To me, I'm an economics major, right? So I think numbers. My background is finance and economics. And that's my day job. I'm telling you, if PS or SGC, and if I'm BGS or SGC and I'm one of those CEOs, I'm slashing prices. I am going to absolutely undercut and make it so much cheaper. Not forever. Yeah. But that's the only thing they can really control. Their flips are what they are. Their cases are what they are. The problem is then they're going to have a giant bet. We saw it with SGC this summer.
Yeah, they already have that too. I say that's what hurt SGC, is that they came in with, we're cheaper, faster, but we're not right now. So I don't know. It's a tough space. Maybe CSG takes a little pressure off the market. And I will say CGC. Yeah, CGC. And I'll even say this, the GMA comment that was made, one thing I did think about is maybe that's a good place to start grading some of those base cards instead of sending them off to PSA, right? So what I mean by that is, if a base card in a GMA slab is going to sell for $40 and in a PSA slab it sells for $60, maybe the turnaround time's worth me giving up that $20. I don't know. I haven't looked at it enough, but what I will say is I will buy GMA slabs and cross those over, crack those, because if they're 10, they're most likely going to be a 9.5 or a 9 for me and something else.
Until PSA stops dominating the secondary market in terms of sales, and it's because of, now you get consistent grading. I would say, if you were to say who's the most consistent grader, I would say SGC in terms of consistent grading.
Yeah, I don't know. I will do, I'll go back to this. The reason we all use PSA, I mean, the honest answer is because they make the most money off PSA slabs. That's why people are using them. And why are they making the most money? I go back to that 9.5. They have a 9.5. They just don't use it. And because they don't use it, those 10s are worth so much more. You know what I'm saying? In fact, I'd love to know who the person was behind that did that, because they have a 9.5 on their scale. They just decided somewhere we're only doing 10s and 9s and 8.5s and 7. Where did that come from?
Ty, if you're the PSA CEO come April, do you add the 9.5 as a grading scale, or you start using it for PSA?
I don't think you can at this point.
It would hurt them.
Yeah, I don't think you can step back and do that. It'd be
I think it's
a lot of what they've done.
I think the 9.5 is silly. Period.
I do too.
You don't think it should be there for BGS or?
No,
it's because when I was new to the hobby, when I first got in the hobby, or back in it 4 or 5 years ago, and I started grading, all I did was BGS, because it's so easy to get 9.5. If you get 9.5, you're gem mint. I didn't really see the value difference. I started looking at the numbers going, wow, there's a big difference between a PSA 10 and a BGS 9.5. So I still think there's a market for it. I'll put it this way. If my PSA 9s, those are all BGS 9.5s in my opinion. Not all, but most of them are, right? Because when you look at the PSA scale, if you graded a 9.4 on their scale, you're going to be rolled down to the 9. In fact, I bet you if you're a 9.5 on PSA scale, they'd probably roll you down to the 9. Right? So it's much easier to round to that fraction. I like the fraction. I just think it's interesting that PSA doesn't use it. And it's been a key differentiator for them. And no one kind of brings it up. I mean, if you go back to analyze what is different between these companies, one company decided to not do 9.5s, and it has defined the market for them.
Well, you know what I love about half grades is especially on vintage stuff, is it's way cheaper for me to buy it because people look at those half grades or they're not searching for that. And so let's say I'm looking for a 1960 Topps Mickey Mantle or something. Well, I'll just put in 1960 Topps Mickey Mantle PSA and it brings me up all the grades. You got guys out there that are looking, I want a PSA 7 or an 8 or they're the, whatever, or a 3 even. And I don't care. I'm going to go find kind of that happy medium between cost and eye appeal and numerical grade. And I do care about the numerical grade, not so much that I wouldn't take a higher eye appeal card and a little bit lower grade, but it's more about the money problem, and so I love the half grades as a buyer.
I totally agree with you. In fact, you just made me think of something. Another thing I would do if I'm one of those companies is if I'm BGS or SEC, you need to have a set registry. In fact, Mike, going back, that's one of the videos I love that you put together several months ago, maybe not 6 months ago. You exposed me to set registry. My sons and I are eager to do a set registry because I think that's fun. And I don't think people in the hobby understand that. When I heard set registry, I'm like, that seems dumb. Why would someone do that? But when you talked about the competitive nature, the scoring, and the fact you can build this set over time, that to me is cool. If I'm BGS, why don't you have that? Like, what are you doing?
Agreed.
And same with SGC. Why isn't everybody doing that? Because also, as you know, you get one of those sets, you get invited to their breakfast, their lunch, right, at National.
I know, I do. That's where I got this hat.
Yeah, you can sell your registered set, correct? Right? You can sell the PSA registered set. That's great value. I don't know why more people aren't doing that.
First off, Bart makes a great point. Like BGS probably doesn't even have a market share right now if they didn't even have the 9.5. So they figured out, we got to go all in on the 9.5s. They've carved out a little market share. I think that's a really good point.
Very good point.
My question to you guys would be, by the way, Pepino is on fire. If Leon's point, Leon 77, I was just thinking this. Would you rather have PSA at a black label or a 9.5? Would you take the black label or 9.5 if you had to pick PSA to go in one of those two directions?
Black label. Don't do a 9.5. It would hurt PSA's market. I think they're smart enough to know that.
Yeah. Do you think they're considering right now the idea of a black label-esque?
I don't know. You make me think about that company that does Grade the Graders. Have you seen that? Have you seen that? Michael Baker Authentication Services, MBA. He has a little sticker that he puts on the cards. You haven't heard this?
No.
So basically, this blows my mind. I saw him at a show, and he was at I think the Dallas show too. They look at graded cards, and then they put a stamp, either a platinum, gold, or silver, on the graded card to tell you how good the grade is. So you can have a PSA 10 with a platinum sticker on it, which to me, I'm thinking, really, like, people pay for this? But they do. Apparently, the guy was bragging PwC. If you look on PwC, they'll have some references to these little differentiating stickers, right?
PwCC got in a I would say they got lambasted in the hobby because they started putting stickers on the slabs and calling it's in the top 20% of all PSA 7s or whatever. And that was like, really? How do you know? Like, I mean, if you looked at all the PSA 7s to know this is in the top 20%, like, tell me how you can possibly make that determination. It's a total money sucking stupid thing. I mean, it's just
and listen to this, it's $25 for that sticker. So if you bring your card, you pay another $25 to have that. I don't understand that at all. Again, I'm not going to call it complete fraud, but I just don't know why you would do that. But the only reason I bring that up is I don't think PSA needs to do anything else to their 10s. If they introduce this black label, what they're really doing, in my opinion, is they're downing themselves to their competitors and justifying their competitors. They don't need to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Eloy's cracking me up too. This is a great comment, and I'm very, very into autographs, by the way. So for those of you that don't know, I'm more autographs actually than I am vintage cards. But I did all that on my old channel. I haven't done a whole lot of that on on bench clear, but PSA, the trading card idea is a horrible idea, but I understand why they do it. And it's, first of all, it's a money grab, but it always is. They do it because they don't want to basically give free card authentication, which is what they used to do on a blue label PSA DNA slab, was they would authenticate the autograph. You could either get the autograph graded or not graded, just, authentic. And it would say 1967 Topps Willie McCovey or whatever. And it would tell you what the card was. Well, they were essentially telling you that's a real card. They were doing that for free. And now they make you do it as what's called dual service, right? You have to send in the card for both, which takes, by the way, not just twice as long, but 3 times as long, because it has to go to a card grader first to say, yes, this is a real 1967 Topps Willie McCovey. Then it goes over to, and you can either have the card graded also. I mean, there's so many different, like if you drew a pie chart or a
workflow
chart, it'd be crazy. And I've actually done that before on my old channel, explaining all of that and how it works, because people can get really confused and not understand what they can do with their cards. But the trading card thing just sucks. It just, it's a total, like, I don't know why anybody would pay just to have the card say trading card.
I agree.
Pay the extra money, $5, whatever it is, to have them authenticate the card.
One thing I also noticed too, did you guys know SGC does not grade thick cards?
That PSA doesn't?
No, SGC.
Oh, I did not know that.
I didn't know that either. I saw in a video today where a guy sent them off and he got one back and they simply said they don't grade that card. Now, they waited the 4 months to send it back to them until they don't grade that card. But I wasn't aware of that. Will say this, though. I do recommend, if you have a flawless or an NT, a fat card, or especially the glass cards from Absolute, go BGS, because they'll grade the thicker cards. They normally get 9.5s. The glass cards will often get pristines, right? So that's what I'm saying. There are reasons why I would still use BGS for certain things over, PSA. I think PSA does everything there, right? They grade. I've seen them grade NT cards and stuff, but I was surprised SGC did not, and I don't see that anywhere on their website either.
Yeah, I did not know that. That's interesting.
I'm getting it's weird. I'm trying to keep up with the comments over here and my private texts that are coming in from people watching this stream. It's like, good grief.
There's a question here about StarStock and their grading, their A, B, and C grading, and I think that's pretty interesting, because here's a negative of that. Okay, where do you think all the StarStock C's and B's are going? I think they're going to eBay. Okay, because I can buy a C of Zion Williams for $100, when on eBay they go for 150, 160.
Tell me the system, because I don't know what this is. So
StarStock, you put the card in, they do an evaluation, a screening, and I will say ComC does the same thing. They do some notes on it, but StarStock ranks them in StarStock A, B, and C categories when you send your cards in. Okay, so A's to them should PSA 9 or 10. They don't guarantee anything, but they tell you there's less defects. B's will have 1 or 2 defects. C's will have a lot more. They've actually stopped accepting C's. They're supposed to be sending C's back. But as someone asked, what are our thoughts on that? I think what's nice about that is StarStock has now become a free screening product service for me. Right? I can send all cards to them, let them screen and rank them for me. And then from those, I can now directly submit to PSA from StarStock, which I really like. Right? And I know it's $30 a card, but you're getting the screening done for you. They're handling the shipping and all the stuff, and they're going to market it for you as soon as it comes back. So you're going to get the fastest time to market to get that card graded and back on the platform.
And these are raw cards you're talking about?
Yeah, raw cards.
Yes. Okay.
You send your raw card to StarStock. They're going to do a pre-grading for you, and then they put that in there. But I will say it's going to be interesting because, as you know, Ty, being in the challenge, right? Am I going to be buying StarStock A's, B's, or C's? Well, I'll tell you, I'm buying A's. I'm not going to mess with the B's and C's. I think there's too much risk to be hurt on that. I know you can make money on it, but I'm not as big of a fan on that. I love the screening they do.
No, I think it's brilliant. How accurate it is, that'll be what's, I think, is fascinating. And they just had their first submission, right, where a bunch of StarStock A's were sent off to be graded. And what those come back as will be really telling. And I know Scott well, right? He's going to tailor that and tweak that thing to make sure it's accurate and fair. But you're exactly right, Ziggy. You send in a lot of cards and you get them pre-screened for you, and then you have the option of streamlining your grading process.
Yep.
Genius.
Yep.
Genius.
Yeah,
Oh,
in
wow.
fact, the boys and I plan to do 5 to 10 cards a month through StarStock. But I will say, here's one thought a friend of mine pointed out. Okay, one of the negatives of StarStock is they don't show you every card. They show you a stock card, right? It's a StarStock A. So let's say there's a stack of Zions, all StarStock A's, and I put in a request that I want to do a PSA one of them. Which one do you think they're picking out for me? I'm going to assume they're probably picking out the best one because, like you said, Ty, they want that grade comeback from PSA to be the best. So what that means is I don't know if I want to be buying raw cards off StarStock A and sending them back to me. You see what I'm saying? Because then, and I'll tell you this, I know StarStock does not want the cards out of the platform. I talked to them a few months ago about pulling down 50 cards. I was like, hey, what's it going to cost to pull down 50 cards and grade them? And I was told, hey, Ziggy, wait, we're going to offer grading for you. I understand why. Now they offer it. They're doing a sealed product as well. They don't want you to rip those boxes. They just want you to use those boxes as commodity on their site, right? So it is something you have to think about. When you send stuff to StarStock, are you going to be paying to bring it back, or are you just flipping and selling it on the platform?
How much does it cost to do that?
To do what? The screening's free.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying so good is you can send them. There's no processing fees. There's no storage fees, right? They'll take it all in and they only charge 5% on transactions. One other thing I mentioned to Scott and the team they need to offer is they need to offer an ability to donate or get rid of cards on there. ComSig lets you do that because at a certain point, there's going to be cards sitting in my account that are going to have no value. I'm not going to have them sent back to me. I'd like a button that says, hey, donate to charity or something like that so I can clean them off and get rid of them as well. 90% of your 2020 Topps rookies from baseball will be, you can donate them next year. Don't worry about it. You can just. But no, I like what StarStock's doing. I think it's phenomenal with them being that aggressive. I will say, like you said, Ty, they did get some. They said in their first submission, did you put any cards in? I put 5 in or 4 cards.
I didn't. No, I didn't do that.
Yeah, and I want to get more in. I suspect they're going to have a lot of 9s come back just because that's the business. It has nothing to do with StarStock. That's just the reality, right? And how that's received will be interesting.
Yeah.
Do y'all think? Go ahead, Ty.
I got to address autograph guys got something against me here. I got to turn my hat around, I think. See, here's the thing. When I have 6 kids, I have to be cool. So the cool thing I do is wear my hat backwards. All right. So
6 kids. Oh my God. Your wife's a hero. You are too, but good God.
Anyway, sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I have now completely blanked on my point. What were we just talking about? The backwards hat thing just got me.
Fucking StarStock. Have you started the challenge yet, Ty?
I have a little bit. Yeah.
Good. Me too.
Focus on that. Yeah.
Let me ask you this: are you going to share with your audience what you're doing?
I am.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Here's one thing I don't mean this in the wrong way. One thing I don't like about the challenge, if you look at the challenge, the rules are like, I can't use my account to buy cards to my account, and I can't call my buddy and say, hey, buy these cards. But I can go on my channel and hype a card all I want.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how that's going to go. I'm definitely watching a lot of the other content providers and see how it goes.
Let me rephrase that. I'm not going to hype cards that I buy. I'm going to hype cards after I sell them, just to be on the up and up.
Fair enough. I hope that my plan is the same thing. And I will say this: call me out if I look like I'm not. I do want to share what I'm doing, but I also want to win.
Yeah. Cool.
Nice.
I like
guys. We've been on over an hour, and anything else y'all want to talk about real quick? Because we can shut this off and people can watch it later, and hopefully.
Last thing I'll just say is I think the investment in StarStock, the KD isn't as big as the Vanderchuck. Vanderchuck investment, I think, is big, and I think look for more stuff to come from StarStock. And I'm also excited about what 2021 offers, man. We're gonna have the national. We're gonna have shows. We're gonna have national. We're gonna have the Olympics, right? It's gonna be a phenomenal year. Can't wait to see you guys in person.
Ty, do you want to make a national announcement about bench clear, or do you want to save that for later?
Save that. Let's make sure it's official first.
All right, we got some really cool stuff on tap for the national.
Awesome.
We're going to be doing, and we're going to be doing another Hobby Palooza probably in Mayish, I would guess.
Awesome.
So be waiting we'll be doing that again. And
Ziggy, you'll be a part of this one.
Thank you, guys.
You ready? You better be ready to roll.
I definitely will be. And like I said, I really appreciate you guys having me on this evening. To everybody's watching, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much. I hope everybody's doing well. Treat everybody the way you want to be treated. I think that's the most important thing. And I love all the friends I've made. I really appreciate it, guys. You guys are great people. I know you very well, and just from following your channels.
By the way, national next year you'll hear it here and everywhere. It's going to be the biggest one they've ever had. It's going to blow the doors off, and it's going to be insane. So it's going to be great. If you haven't, I hear hotels are already selling out. It's crazy. I got my plane tickets, but I don't have my hotel yet, and I'm thinking, good grief, I better get this done. So thanks, Ziggy, for joining us, man. I hope we make your Sports Card Daily tomorrow.
Absolutely. How can you not, man? Let me know when you're putting content out. I always follow your channel, guys. But if anything big coming out, let me know. I'd be happy to promote it. Keep doing what you're doing. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Back at you, man. Every day is really, really hard. People don't understand how hard it is to do what you're doing, but keep it up, man. I'm impressed.
Well, I got to get home and work on tomorrow's episode. I do.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
See you guys. Thanks everybody for joining us. See ya.